and about 1,000 experience advantage over the enemy team. This Razor in particular is getting a lot of farm. 1,200 gold in Arise's pockets. It's backed out for a lot of small items, but I'm not sure what we're going to see from Arise this game. If he wants to fight very early, maybe a Drums into an Aghanim Scepter could be a reasonable build. It's mostly up to personal preference as to what he wants to go into this game, but more than anything, he's going to try to build items that just make him tanky. And for now, he's going to be power farming inside the woods, farming all of the 3 camps at the same time. He's going to have another plasma field, and that should be lethal on most of these creeps if his positioning is correct. And even if it's not lethal, just one more attack on that Alpha Wolf ought to do it. Now up to 1,700 gold, near enough. With the Midas running on the Wraith King, with the Razor doing as well as he is, Power Rangers is going to feel comfortable to have the aggressive moves around the map, but there is still always that feeling in the back of your mind. There's an anti-mage that's farming on the enemy side that hasn't died at all this game, and at some point is going to pick up his battle for it. At some point is going to become incredibly hard to manage, so they need to do something about the speed of life as he's farming out inside the woods, and it's probably going to require a big rotation from their team, and it's up to them to decide when that rotation is going to be enough to kill off this anti-mage and when it's going to catch him off guard. They'll bring up the Razor up in the top lane. Although this is going to kill at the speed of life, it is going to apply pressure onto him. And right now, they do have a ward that will also facilitate that, although that's going to expire soon. I'd like to keep this aggressive vision up for Power Rangers. Right now, the only ward that they have on the map is a fairly generic mid lane vision ward. Tron not entirely battle ready on this Wraith King yet. His first item pickup is going to coincide pretty well with his reincarnation cooldown, maybe a minute afterwards. If he just gets the drums for himself, that'll free up Razor to go for other items, and it looks like it's going to be Yasha, maybe a Sanjin Yasha build for this Razor. Manta style could also be reasonable, depends on how good he is at Manta dodges. Razors, even if he doesn't go for the S&Y, but I think the S&Y will suit nicely the playstyle the Power Rangers are going for. Slightly more movement speed might ensure that he gets a longer link off onto the Doom, or maybe even more importantly, the Windrunner. Speaking of the Windrunner, she is a little bit behind her lane opponent, not damningly so, but she's going to be very delayed when it comes to getting that Aghanim Scepter and subsequent damage items up. And if she gets a link onto herself, it's hardly going to be doing anything with the focus fire. Even if it's just a short link, a couple of pulses of that damage drain are going to make it very difficult for her to contribute. Rubik up towards top lane, going to steal Blink and then very cheekily get out of there. He's completely alone, but at the same time, Lich isn't the greatest at locking down to Rubik, who has Anti-Mage's Blink. You need some sort of hard lockdown mid lane. They catch with the Windrunner. Cheshire Cat coming in for that rotation in. And no, Windrunner is just completely caught with her pants down. That's going to secure your Midas for your Ancient Apparition. A very good timing for your support AA, 2, 0, and 4. Mostly getting those kills on the Doom in the laning stage. And the Doom, although he has his own Midas, is really not looking that great when it comes to farm. And now a Wraithfire Blast is going to take a little bit for Assel, though. With the Scorched Earth regen, he'll be able to out-sustain that quite nicely. His farm is very similar to that of the enemy Ancient Apparition support. Only about 500 gold between them. Really not having that great of a game. You'd expect more with Devour and Midas running. TP away by the Visage will keep him safe as Power Rangers continue to just out-farm and get more of an advantage across the map. We'll see the remainder of a triple stack, although this one creep no longer has his family with him. Farmed by Arise. Very efficient farming coming out from this Razors. He's abusing the multiple creep farms as they go back into their sides of the woods. It is going to be an S&Y after all, and he's going to have that very soon. You have the drums on the Wraith King, and now that Clockwork has another hook shot up and at the ready. I think this is time for Power Rangers to start grouping up and taking down these tier 1 towers. Getting the farm advantage right now is nice, but what's even nicer is stopping the anti-mage from having map control. And at the very least, even if he's still going to go for the aggressive farming style and go onto the enemy side of the map, at least make him afraid while he's doing that. So at the speed of life has to give things a second thought instead of just freely going in knowing that everything's a-okay. They're going to start this pressure on the mid lane. They'll bring a Rise here to clear out the creep wave, and the tower already close to about half damage, but with this Frost Armor, even though it is not very high leveled, still going to be dropping pretty quickly. Down towards bottom, Pwn is going to take a lot of damage, but maxed out Scorched Earth, I mean, he's able to run away to safety. As this game progresses, Pwn definitely has chances to catch back up into the game. Doom is a hero that operates like that, but it is going to be a lot more difficult than your normal Doom game where you haven't died 3 times. Tier 1 tower down towards bottom lane, going to be mopped up by the Radiant. The Doom can't do much to counter push that by himself, but in the meantime, up towards top, they're going to look to put pressure on this tower. He's TP in from... Oh, Cheshire again, not going to land that hook shot onto the Windrunner, catches the catapult instead. Unfortunate. A couple patches ago, maybe that works out for him, who knows. Tier 1 tower up towards top lane, going to be dropped down to about half HP too, but this one's not going to be taken. Across the map, it's still a beneficial trade for Power Rangers, even though they don't get the initiation that they necessarily wanted onto the Windrunner. Even if they get that lined up, I don't think it's a guaranteed kill, but actually Windrunner's build, it's going to make it a lot harder for the Clockwork to lock her down, as it looks like she's going to go for a Force Staff first. Under normal circumstances, I'd say that Aghanim Scepter probably a little bit better, but this game, she really does need the Force to kite the Razor, to kite the Wraith King, and maybe most importantly, to get out of those cogs. An early Force Staff on the team, although maybe not something you want to build, is something that you probably have to build. Sentry lane going to instantly de-ward the Observer placed down by the Radiant side as Rubik steals Power Shot, but the situation still stands that the Tier 1 tower has fallen. That's the last remaining Tier 1. Up towards top, J4 is going to get jumped upon by the Anti-Mage, but can't actually commit for that kill, as this Ancient Apparition continues to find a lot of farm. An early Aghanim Scepter on Ancient Apparition can be absolutely game-breaking. They're going to rotate up towards top. This was spotted out by Dire Vision. They probably shouldn't expect to catch out the Anti-Mage. His courier is a little bit an awkward situation. The Rubik, I believe, pings it out, and it looks like he wants to buy his broadsword over at the side shop to complete up that Battle Fury. Would be nice for him how close he is to that broadsword. He has the gold for it and is going to make that purchase. Has the completed B Fury and Power Treads at 16.5 minutes. Pretty good farm for the Anti-Mage, but mid lane, Cheshire Cat goes in and way too aggressively too. I'm pretty sure he wanted to catch out this Lich in the mid lane all alone, but little did he know he had more than enough backup. So this Clockwork is starting to lose quite a lot of momentum. He had that one good rotation onto the Windrunner, but now the last 2 movements coming out from him have netted him deaths. Still, Clockwork can still contribute to the team and is a very potent member, but is not getting nearly as much farm as he'd like to be from the offlane position. They're giving all of that offlane space to the Ancient Apparition, which is not super uncommon when you go for AAs, when you go for Clockwork. Although you're going to want to give that Clockwork an early level 6 Blink Telekinesis, they catch out Giga. Now with the Razor dropping his Eye of the Storm, easy kill there. And they'll farm up a Visage Familiar as well, icing on the cake, netting them 379 gold for the Razor and for the team 446, plus that Familiar on top. They're going to start pressuring this Tier 2 tower, and again, this is not something that Team Bad English can really contest. 9-3 is the kill score, and they just don't have good heroes for fighting from behind. Their initiation is very lackluster. You may be able to start off a fight with familiar stuns or with a shackle latching, but really they need some sort of mobility. Now you have that, Force Staff on the Doom, and almost Force Staff on the Windrunner should she decide to go for it. Since Doom has also gone for the Force Staff, maybe she decides to instead back off for the Aghanim Scepter, but her options are still open. The options for the Tier 2 tower top are very limited now that it's dead, and the Anti-Mage's farming space is going to be severely hampered. Although right now they have some ward vision that will keep him comfortable inside his own woods. Smoke rotations are going to be super powerful, as the ability to TP respond to those Tier 2s is now non-existent, and something that Power Rangers ought to look out to do, and to the best of their ability, keep up this aggressive vision. They now have one ward that's going to spout Anti-Mage as he farms out inside his large camp and rotations towards that camp, which is going to help them out a lot. Ancient Apparition now going to continue using that Midas, is about halfway towards his Aghanim Scepter. A little bit less, but that'll be picked up at a fairly reasonable rate and probably will coincide nicely with his level 11 tick mark if the Midas continues to work its magic. Power Rangers are grouping up, and how do the Bad English team dislodge this? I think they really need to get active on the map, and they need to get this Windrunner Aghanims quickly. I don't think we have yet to see a Doomcast at all, and really what they need to do is catch somebody on the retreat. Maybe they can stall this tower. The Frost Armor and the structure definitely is going to slow down this push, but they need to make sure that they get something in the meantime. And Tier 1 tower, is that something? Tier 1 tower in mid lane is going to be dropping incredibly low. Maybe the best they can hope for is a deny coming out from Rise. The Ice Blast is going to be wide off the mark. Rise chased them a little too far away, but with a lift up onto the Visage, now with this Gravekeeper's cloak worn out, he's going to get dropped like a rock. Down towards bottom lane, they left the Lich alone, and Tron will very easily bring down the Lich. The 2 supports across the map for the Dire's side are going to be taking down. That Tier 1 tower is eventually going to be taken out. Power Rangers getting a very crucial map objective denied away from the enemy side. They really need any amount of gold they can get. Blinken Wraith King's going ham on at the speed of light. Won't be able to get that kill. Blink away by the Anti-Mage will keep him safe. But should they have gotten the Cold Feet proc, or is Cold Feet even cast? Yeah, 3 points of the Cold Feet. If they got that proc and a couple of lucky crits coming out from Tron, maybe that works out. Anti-Mage, just a good reaction, but now another Blinken from the Wraith King. Their unrelentless hook shot in at the speed of light will be bounced back and shatters. Very nicely done. Coming out from Power Rangers, perfectly lining up all of their chain disable to make sure that they kill a very slippery Anti-Mage. 12-3 is our kill score, and Power Rangers are starting to run away with it. It really feels like the picks coming out from Team Bad English just aren't working out. You're getting a lot of farm, sure, on the Windrunner, getting a good amount of farm on the Doom as well, but this is not translating at all into fights. Whereas, even with a couple of unfortunate initiations coming out from Power Rangers, they're still the ones that are taking these initiations. They have a Blink Telekinesis on Rubik. They have a Blink Wraith Fire Blast coming out from Tron. Cheshire Cat's able to hook shot in. Even the Ancient Apparition, if he just lands an Ice Blast, is enough to convince Team Bad English to not go in. It's going to be a very big dissuading factor. Their confidence inside these fights. I really want to see Team Bad English go for a Smoking. Try to use this Doom spell. If you're just sitting that inside Doom's available kit, all you're doing is making money with the hero, and although money is a great resource in Dota 2, it doesn't do anything unless you're getting objectives, like Roshan. It's being taken out by Power Rangers right now, and Roche just is going to be a second life, probably given to a Rise. It'll help the Razor very comfortably sitting on the high ground as they go for high ground pushes or for tier 2 tower pushes, and those are few and far between now for Team Bad English, as the mid lane is the only one to have one standing still. They are forced back. The Windrunner was pushing up in the top lane, but Urbanishka is forced to TP out. Free damage for Razor. Up to 49, will help him farm a little bit. Now you have a basher up for this Wraith King. Tron is absolutely dishing. This is probably about as aggressive a build as you can get for a Wraith King if you've included the Midas already. He's going to have to sell one of his items. I believe it was a wand, although it could be wrong, as he picks up that basher. But I suppose the good news for Team Bad English is now that you have the Aghanim Scepter on the Windrunner, she's going to feel a lot more comfortable inside these fights. But Aghanim Scepter or not, it's hardly going to tank you up when you're dealing with the huge amount of damage coming out from this Wraith King in particular. His crits are really going to sting. 354 damage, the chance for a bash, and Tron can stay inside these fights almost indefinitely. He's at level 13. And very shortly is going to have his level 16 ultimate. I already touched on it in the draft. Team Bad English don't have great heroes at dealing with a second life Wraith King. They might be able to doom one of the lives. They might be able to catch a good shackle on one of the lives. But the second life really relies on Tron being completely alone. So they need to kill off literally everybody else and then focus back on WK. Tower at mid lane going to be very quickly mowed down by Team Bad English if they don't do something, and it looks like they're not going to. 12-5. Team Bad English are holding in there as best as they can when it comes to farm, but the advantage is still going there for Team Power Rangers. And up towards top, blink away by the Rubik is going to keep him safe, although Bignum did lose a lot of his mana. He didn't have a lot to begin with, I guess, to be fair. And Power Rangers will be repelled. Razor is going to be going towards an Assault Cuirass, not the Aghanim Scepter I was talking about earlier, but AC is going to help out the team much more, and it's going to make this Razor incredibly tanky. If we take a look at his armor, 58% physical damage resist right now, and it's going to get even worse for him. He has the full AC flying out to him on the Courier. This is going to mean that his damage output, the Wraith King's damage output, is incredibly bolstered. Up towards top lane, they catch out the Doom as he's pushing out alone. And all he was trying to do was farm, but they're going to put an end to that. J4 is indeed dominating. That's the full Aghanim Scepter, level 11 for Ancient Apparition. This guy is going to be doing so much work in the fights. In fact, his net worth is hardly lower than that of the Windrunner and the Doom on the enemy side. Only 400 gold behind. I'd much rather have the Ancient Apparition on my team if I'm going to be completely blunt. This Doom just hasn't done anything as a pick for the team. We haven't seen them use that Doom to get pickoffs. We haven't seen them use that Doom to take a team fight. We haven't seen them use that Doom at all, and that's really a sad situation for them. I think a lot of that comes down to Power Rangers draft. It's very good at dealing with that hero, and I think it shows their confidence and also maybe a little bit of their experience with the game. Well executed draft coming out from them thus far, but it's not over yet. We still have Anti-Mage farming away, although Anti-Mage is still behind the Wraith King and the Razor. he's progressing at a normal anti-rage farming rate, and if they can start taking down these towers, anti-mage will get an advantage. As far as carries are concerned, especially this game, anti-mage needs to have an advantage to make sure that he isn't completely outclassed by the Wraith King and the Razor. So at the speed of life is going to need to start making some risks and cutting creep waves, potentially just going for tier 2 towers alone. It's going to be really hard for him if they can't keep this map vision up. Right now, Team Bad English do have 2 wards out and they're pretty good, and they've committed a lot into these sentry wards to make sure that Power Rangers don't have vision. But mid lane, they catch out a jump onto this Doom. I've seen this sword before. It does not end well for Pone. Although with the Shackle Shot, maybe they can buy him some space. Blink it for Wraith King, and one smack, one bash. Tron will find himself in an unstoppable spree. Wraith King is on the front lines. There's nothing they can do about him, although they have spent their initiation kit. Oh, Razor's casually diving their base while that's happening. Whoops. Double kill for a Rise. That focus bar hardly tickling him at all. Power shot, and Razor is completely fine in doing so. Even if he dies there, he has the Aegis, but he's not even going to drop. They're going to commit onto the tier 3 tower. Anti-Mage is going to do his best to split push down to tier 2, but this is an Anti-Mage without even a Manta style completed yet. He can't put any split push pressure comparable. They have the Assault Cuirass Razor, just a right click damage from the enemy team. This is going to be a 25, almost 26 minute Raxing coming out from Power Rangers, and they're not done yet. They can stick around. You have 2 lives on both of their tanky cores. You have the Medallion armor on the Wraith King as he tanks to the tower. And although Shackle Shot is going to be attempted coming out from the Windrunner, they cannot dislodge this Power Rangers draft. They're just way too tanky. Solar Crest is done on this Clockwork. They just don't have the damage. Ooh, I heard our first Doom of the game. It's going to be on Bignum. Rubik looks like he is going to be dropped low by this. Can they get this kill? If nothing else, it's going to make the Doom feel better about himself, and he is going to go down. Power shot from downtown. Windrunner will secure the kill, but now Pone has completely overextended. There's going to be a kill onto the Doom as they focus him down. Ice Blast going to fly over the top. Catches out too. That's the death of the Zenny, if nothing else. Everything's going to come back to life. It's going to be Son by the Familiar. Sorry about that. Getting some congestion right now. But one bash, and that's going to be a dead Windrunner. The rest of his team is dropping pretty low. Unfortunately, the Razor, I believe his age is expired throughout all of that as I was hacking up a lung. But it's going to be a successful fight for Team Bad English. Cost them a Doom buyback. He did drop at the beginning of that fight, but since they were behind, that was completely mandatory. They'll trade 3 for 4 and will give themselves a slight gold advantage. But right now they rely entirely on this Anti-Mage being able to keep out these lanes so Power Rangers don't get up to their front door again. We saw how quickly that racks up towards top fell, and now with an exposed Rax in mid, this game gets so very hard for Team Bad English, especially with a new gem purchase up coming out from the Rubik. Although there is no natural invis coming out from Team Bad English, they require this map control. They require wards out on the map to make sure that Anti-Mage can push out as far as he needs to make sure that they keep themselves safe. Anti-Mage is going to blink down towards the south, and looks like he is going to evade detection at the speed of light. Is going to farm inside the enemy Ancients. But to what end? Team Bad English, although they're not losing this game with that defense, are not winning it either. They need to make sure that they can accomplish that again, but in the next 6 minutes, they're not going to have the Doom's buyback to pull that one through. It's going to be a hard game for sure. Not impossible, I won't say, but 12,000 the net worth advantage for Power Rangers, and at about 3,000 the experience advantage there. It's definitely hard, especially when you have an Invis Wraith King on your butt. This Wraith King has a full BKB, and he's going to bump into the Doom, but instead wants to maybe look for one of the supports. The Doom is peeling off towards the right-hand side, has a lot of his team behind him, but then again, so does the Wraith King. Everybody else is following him up, spotted out by the Lich. They have a full wrap. They open up onto Pone, and the Doom is going to go down. Razor secures that kill. TP about by Giga will keep him safe and back in base, but that is a dieback on the Doom. Even though he's fairly under-leveled and fairly under-farmed, he's going to be on the sidelines for a minute. This is a full minute where Power Rangers can very feasibly look to push high ground. They don't have the Eye of the Storm. That is going to expire, and that's maybe a little bit sad for them. But all they need is this catapult. That's all they need to disable backdoor protection. No matter how much Anti-Mage is creep cutting here, they just need to keep Cardi alive. Cardi is going to disable the backdoor protection in bottom lane. They're going to go towards mid. The backdoor protection is going to resume sooner rather than later, unless these creeps in top push out. And it looks like they are going to do just that. The barracks in mid is going to be falling in just a matter of seconds. Good shackle on the 2 cores. But this Wraith King has yet to use a reincarnation. The recent fight, 7-0-6 in Tron. And Power Rangers has found themselves the second set of barracks. This is effectively good game going their way. And it was a very good game coming out from Power Rangers. Very safe, very restrained. Good rotations coming out from them, although the Clockwork got caught out a couple times in the early game. It's completely fine. It works out for them. He takes some risks. Some of them don't pay off, but a couple of them do, and that's all you really need. Anti-Mage now has to go for a Basher. He needs damage. He needs to be able to fight, but the items are coming out way too quickly. For the enemy side, look at Aged Apparition, for God's sake. This guy has 4 staff, Aghanim, Scepter, Gem, 1600 gold in the base. He's more farmed than the enemy Windrunner, who is laned in the mid lane. J4 has had a miraculous game on this hero, and he's just been given so much space by his team. It does come at the cost of Clockwork's net worth, but who cares? Clockwork can contribute even with no items, and he has a Solar Crest and is very tanky with the point booster treads. So now let's see how the miraculous fight could end up going for Team Bad English, and I think that miraculous fight needs to come off the back of this smoke. They're going to jump in. BKB popped by the Wraith King. Tron is going to lose his reincarn. They're going to throw a Doom. That's going to go the way of poor Bignum, the only hero that's been doomed this game. Pone, however, now isolated inside the Cogs is going to go down. Cat getting focus fired with another Lich Bounce, and another Lich Bounce there will be. That's going to be the death of the clock. Mana Void on the backlines. The Anti-Mage is going to snipe a couple of these kills, but with the Ice Blast needs to be very careful inside the trees. Has no TP, but has a blink. They'll throw a Shackle. Urban Ishka, however, is dying to Arise, and Tron is to just wail upon her as she win her on. She's not going to be taking nearly as much damage. Turns for a power shot, cancels the Blink Dagger of the Wraith King, but he has another Blink in one. They don't even need it. The Plasma Field is enough to secure the double kill for Arise. They lose their clock. They lose their Ancient Apparition. They lose their Rubik. It is a very costly fight for Team Bad English, but since they were so far behind, they are going to get a good gold swing going in their favor. That death on the Wraith King was just reincarnation, so nothing major lost there. But now they have to back off and go inside their base. And really, the Anti-Mage is the only hero that can comfortably push out these lanes. And right now, at the speed of life, is going to push them as far as he can. But the creep equilibrium is back at his base, and it's going to take way too long for those creeps to come up to where he can pressure high ground. And now, at the speed of life, does need to be careful. There was a Wraith King around the corner if he stuck around too long, but this is the type of play that you need from the Anti-Mage at this point. He can't farm in safe places. Safe places loses you this game, even if it is able to give you some farm acceleration. You need to apply pressure on the enemy team and force them to run around and look for you. That fight, the most recent one that Team Bad English took, is going to translate into a Shiva's for Pone, which is going to help this Doom out quite a lot. The physical damage up until this point was just way too much. It's going to help a little bit with that minus armor ore coming out from the Assault Cuirass and just the physical DPS from the Wraith King. But again, this Doom just isn't doing much, and I don't think he can fix that issue anymore, really. I think they just hold on to this Midas and hope that they can take this one late. And Team Bad English do have a team that can take this exchange to a pretty late spot. They're going to get a D-ward inside their base. They group up. They're going for the smoke, and they are going to go for that smoke now. I think Power Rangers have some inkling of an idea of what they're going to be doing, and now they are waiting in the wings. Wraith King is going to be farming inside this large camp. They're going to send a Visage Familiar to scout as they go for the smoke wraparound. Team Bad English, this is one of their few Hail Marys that they can throw, and if this pass is going to make a connection, they'll keep themselves inside this game. Maybe they can tie this one up with a couple more of these exchanges, but right around the corner, they bump to Rise. He pops the BKB, gets Doom, but he already has the Static Storm down. Is going to be offering that Assault Cuirass aura, and they're hunting this Anti-Mage, lifting him up. He can't go anywhere. He's going to shatter. Has buyback, but can't get back into this exchange. They're going to lose the Doom over the sidelines. Even though this Lich Ultimate's getting miraculous bounces, Giga is also going to fall. Buyback from the Anti-Mage, the only thing he can do, but it looks like it's all but over. They have buyback on the Windrunner too, but these two heroes can't do it, although they're going to try their darndest. Team Bad English want to stay inside this Frankfurt qualifier as long as they can. It means so much for these players. And right now, let's see if they can accomplish that. Blink in mid lane. The Anti-Mage will desperately try to push out lanes as the Roshan is being taken out by Team Power Rangers. This Abyssal Blade on the Wraith King, absolutely huge. They're getting way too much farm, and it feels like their draft is working to a T. Working like clockwork, no pun intended. Everything is falling in line, and now they're going to go down to the bottom lane. If Team Bad English, I keep on calling them Team Business Gaming. Sorry about that. This is not the NA qualifiers. Team Bad English, if they lose this last set of barracks, it's all over. They don't have a team that can come